It's your boy Mark back at it with another video. Today we got the Jeffrey Epstein files story or whatever is going on. I definitely don't know too much about what's going on. If you do, shit, let me know a little bit more in the your opinion in the comments down below. I'm definitely trying to get people to comment, bro. I restarted. If people don't know, I'm definitely gonna be, cause I restarted. I didn't have a YouTube channel, and now I gotta restart from ground up. But it's cool though. Shit, I'm on the grind. But if you new here, please like, comment, subscribe, do all the above if you want to. If not, it's alright. Let's get straight to it.
Jeffrey Epstein is perhaps the greatest intelligence asset of all time, connected to everything from child trafficking, arms deals, and the world's most successful blackmail operation implicating the global elites.
That's what he connect to all that shit. That's crazy.
And after months of U.S. leaders like Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel denying the files even existed, the Department of Justice dropped over 3 million supposedly unredacted Epstein files. Today, we head to Washington, D.C. to speak with politicians that have seen the raw documents. And we asked them what they've uncovered, how deep does Epstein's operation go, and who are the co-conspirators that we should be investigating further. We also tackle questions of Epstein's substantial connections to Israel, as well as darker conspiracies surrounding an elite satanic cabal.
Oh shit, it's finna get together. Please, if you new, subscribe. Please, and thank you.
We'll also be joined by journalists who have done extensive research on Epstein to plug in the gaps that our politicians may have not had the time to cover or, due to foreign pressure, do not wish to discuss. Let's dive in. We're just outside the White House. There's chaos around here. There's lots of news reporters, protesters. Our greatest ally, Benjamin Netanyahu, just got to town. And right now, the American public is finding out some of the contents of the unredacted Epstein files. And what we're learning is making us sick that some of the most powerful, influential men on the planet and in our country are involved. And they're hiding, they're trying to cover it up, they're trying to act like it's not a big deal. I mean, we have our FBI director
crazy,
lying
bro.
under oath. We have Pam Bondi.
That's crazy. That's sick as hell.
Saying that there's nothing to be seen here. Howard Lutnick, our Treasury Secretary, says only went to his next door neighbor's house once and never again, but then we see him bringing his kids to an island of a file in Africa. So we're going to be speaking with senators and representatives that have seen the unredacted files and are leading the fight to release them so that we, the public, we, the people, know what is going on with our country. We're a few minutes from the Congressional building where we'll be having our first meeting of the day.
Shout out to Tommy G.
If you were abused as a kid by a guard, counselor, or staff member of a juvie center, you may be eligible for
Tommy G, not gonna lie, he's a fucking legend. For sure.
You just got back from the DOJ. Did you get your hands on unredacted files?
Some, yes. Some files I was looking for today weren't in the database.
Nancy Mace is one of the few Republicans that is using her voice to demand the Epstein files be released.
My heart and my pain is with the Epstein victims, and it's with every single man, woman, and child who's ever been abused and never gets justice.
And some of the files I looked at were still redacted. So that's a problem, and the excuse that the DOJ gives you is that this is the way the data was provided to them, so it's not their fault. The most important document is a co-conspirator document on investigations into co-conspirators that is still fully redacted. And I want the co-conspirator information. I want to know who was investigated and not charged. I want to know why there were so many plea deals and so many immunity deals only to put one person in jail. This doesn't make sense to me. How do you have thousands of victims and one accomplice?
What does that make you think if you were going there as a cop?
Shit, did he? But everybody in the shit, everybody.
Congresswoman to
Yeah.
the DOJ and it's still redacted.
But this is going to go down as one of the greatest conspiracies, or one of the greatest cover-ups, one of the greatest cover-ups in American history.
And who is responsible for the cover-up?
A lot of people. We're talking about multiple administrations, multiple...
But that is crazy. This is a whole different level. But this is crazy. But no, I'm just giving an example though, because it was a lot of people fucking sending pointing a finger at Diddy. A lot of people was. But this is a whole fucking different story. This shit is crazy. I don't know anything about this, so if you knew, shit, I'm in it with you. I don't know. I'm lost.
DOJs, multiple FBIs. This goes back to the Bush era. These are prosecutors, these are solicitors, these are law enforcement agents that are basically letting these guys walk free because they have a title or a tiara or a B by their name for a billionaire, or maybe they're rich and famous. You know, I saw lots of names in there, and I'm going to be sending a long list of names to the Oversight Committee asking them to come testify. And I'm not saying those people are criminals. I'm not saying they did anything. I'm just saying I think they have information that would be very valuable to the victims and the American people.
We are on our way to the Department of Justice. We're going to be interviewing a congressman fresh after he sees the redacted files. So I think it's important to get your news from unbiased sources. And that's why the sponsor of today's episode is Straight Arrow News. So if you want to get educated on a variety of topics, you can talk about U.S. news, you can talk about politics, lifestyle, sports. For example, on these vote, that's one of the news sites where you folks armed with his engagements. And we're waiting for our congressman to come out and talk about what he's learned. Good to see you, man. How are you? Ro Khanna, alongside Thomas Massie, is the man spearheading the bipartisan push to have the files released. We catch him as he's exiting the DOJ fresh from seeing unredacted documents. Here's what he found out. Tell us about what you saw in there and what the access you got.
It was the second time I was there. You know, it's a small cubicle. There are about 4 computers, and you sit in there, you type in the Bates numbers, and then you see the documents. Some of them you get to see the unredacted version. The problem is, a lot of the documents you see, they still have the redactions. And, you know, the question is really, who are they protecting? Why are they covering up some of these men? And why were these files scrubbed in March at the FBI?
Senator Durbin claims his office was told that the FBI was pressured to scrub through volumes of Epstein-related documents and to, quote, flag any mentions of President Trump.
Right now, guys, I think we're in an extreme moral predicament in this country. And I don't care. We need to forget Democrat, Republican, and realize that this is actually something that can unite us, the people back home. I think we all have very common things that we want. We want our government not to be having sex with children and covering up for the people that are. We want affordable housing. We want health care that works for us. We want politicians that tell us the truth. We're here for an interview with Senator Rubin. Yes, sir. Just this week, we've had unredacted drops start coming out. Did you get the impression that guys like Mike Johnson were trying to delay this as much as possible?
Yeah.
This is Ruben Gallego, a former Marine and current Arizona senator, and he's one of the key figures from the Senate pushing for the release of the documents, and here is his take on what's unfolding.
We'll give credit where credit is due, right? When the vote actually happened, the Republicans voted for it. But they did everything possible to avoid the vote altogether. And I got into it with little Mike in front of his office because, you know, he was holding up a woman who was a friend of mine who won her congressional seat and held her up for more than 40-something days because if she would have gotten sworn in, then she would have signed the discharge petition, which would have forced the vote, right? So he absolutely was covering up for the.
What do you think Speaker Mike Johnson's motivation was for delaying the files?
Because he does not want to get sided with the president, because he congressional seat and held her up for more than 40-something days because if she would have gotten sworn in, he does not want to get sided with the president. The president knows that there's a lot of dirty shit about him and his friends and all his rich, powerful friends in there. And the best thing he could do is just to avoid it altogether and avoid having the vote. So he would just rather do that than actually deal with the reality that the president, you know, at least knew about the was happening at Epstein and other places, and a lot of the rich friends that we're now discovering that were also.
That's crazy. The fucking That's crazy. That's crazy.
You know, with Epstein, and those rich friends, by the way, aren't just Democrats and aren't just Republicans. They're like, you know, people that, you know, are very powerful and friends with all sides. but they need to be exposed too.
We get taxed too damn much to not demand accountability. I can't even go to take my baby to an emergency room without paying $800 while they are on private pay. All the people that make the laws up here, they're on their own fancy insurance. If you get elected, your job is to serve your country and serve your people to the highest degree. And right now we have all of these people in office that are just unanimously doing what most of us don't want. And I think we have to put our foot down a little bit. I think people have to go to prison. I think there needs to be a heavy wave of public accountability, because I don't know about you, but I don't even recognize the country I'm living in anymore. I believe America is a great place, but it will be much, much better when we get people that actually care about the people in office.
If you were sexually abused while at school or school activity as a child, you may be entitled up to $580,000 or more.
You want merch?
No, buy my merch instead. Actually, that's good transition. Guys, we have anti-government t-shirts launching. They look like this. They look like this. These are badass shirts that help you take a stand against what is happening. Howdy. Hello. How are you?
Good.
Tommy.
Yeah.
This is Eric Swalwell. He's a representative and currently the front runner in the California governor race to take over as Gavin Newsom runs for president. Eric has questioned both Kash Patel and Pam Bondi under oath, and here's what he had to say about that experience. The Epstein files.
Yeah.
I saw you question Kash Patel
Yeah.
under oath.
Yeah.
What was that like? What'd you learn?
I mean, world-class bullshitter, 24-karat liar to Congress. And that's what I started Bondi with today, which is I asked Kash, I said, how many times was Trump's name in the files?
It sounds like if you don't know the number, it could at least be 1,000 times. Which
It's not.
Be,
it's not.
is it at least 500 times?
No.
Is it at least 100 times?
No.
Then what's the number?
I don't know the number, but it's not that.
Do you think it might be your job to know the number?
My job is to provide for the safety and security of this country.
And it turns out I should have started at like 38,000, right?
Folks, what's said about President Trump in this latest file release is concerning. Representative Ted Lieu said that the files contain allegations of
Donald Trump children. Donald Trump threatening to children.
However, Trump has interpreted the release of these files much differently, and when asked about it, he said 3 times within 20 seconds,
I have nothing to hide. I've been exonerated, and I've been totally exonerated, and I've been totally exonerated.
Needless to say, it will be interesting to see whether U.S. presidents mentioned in the files
In a row, though? Back to back.
like Clinton and Trump will ever have to submit to further investigation.
I didn't start high enough, and so I just wanted the Attorney General today to understand the reason so many of the survivors were present and pissed is because the last time someone from the Department of Justice came, they were lied to.
A lot of Americans are suspecting that our FBI director lied under oath.
He absolutely.
Dang, that's crazy, y'all. My bad.
To submit to further investigation.
I didn't start high enough, and so I just wanted,
saying, like,
because the
Thing that our FBI
the punishment for lying is, what they are trying to do against all of their enemies. And I'm just saying, just tell us the truth right now.
Do you think it's possible that the director of the FBI, Kash Patel, lied under oath?
I think it's possible.
And what is the punishment for lying under oath?
Well, it's a crime, so punishable with prison time.
jail.
To say
Straight to jail. Shouldn't be none else. Straight to jail.
that there's no evidence
Bullshit.
in those
Well, 'cause
files
if
is
it
just a flat out.
Yeah. Would have
Out
went
what?
straight to jail.
The reason they know they can lie under oath is because they are anticipating this president give them a pardon.
I guess first of all, let's just clear the air. Did you visit the island?
No.
Okay. This is Mark Kelly, a former NASA astronaut and a current senator from Arizona, and he's on the short list of Democratic candidates who may run for president in 2028. Here's what he had to say about this Epstein drama. A lot of people are coming out in the unredacted files that are still redacted somehow. It appears we have, from the top down, a concerted effort to push us under the rug. Can you describe this from your point of view?
Well, in the unredacted files, right, they unredacted some of the victims' names, so they get thrown out there. The names of co-conspirators, which were supposed to be unredacted, are still redacted. So they couldn't even get this straight. And we now...
This our future president?
The ability to go over to DOJ and log on to some kind of computer. They have like 4 terminals for 535 members of Congress.
So they're making this on purposely difficult to do?
I think so.
So then the question people have is, who actually committed the crimes?
You named 6 guys recently.
Right.
That should be investigated further.
Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, CEO of Dubai Ports World. Leslie Wexner, who was labeled as a co-conspirator by the FBI. And there are more names I found today that I'm going to ask if those redactions were appropriate.
Can you speak to how this current administration seems to be covering things up?
Well, I will tell you, it's under the Trump administration that this information is coming out. Biden didn't do it, Obama didn't do it, Bush didn't do it. So I want to give a lot of credit to the president for signing this into law.
Would you put Trump on that list?
No, I would not. I mean, Trump is exonerated in the files. He got rid of Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago. I mean, he called law enforcement, he talked to the FBI, he talked to the police. I mean, he was like the only whistleblower. Back in the early 2000s, I mean, that was Donald Trump.
Yeah, and I think they're keeping people hidden, right? And remember what Kash Patel said a number of years ago that, you know, Donald Trump was only like in there, like, I don't know how many times he said. It was a small number of times. It's in there tens of thousands of times, you know, mentions.
We just got out of Nancy Mace's office, and she said that, you know, these files have vindicated Trump.
Well, I haven't looked at millions of documents. I don't know how she has.
I believe Donald Trump has a lot of questions to answer about what he knew, what was going on, whether he knew other people who were these girls.
I guess to say that Trump has been forthcoming in this, I feel like I don't know how you can interpret it in that fashion.
Well, he signed it into law. No other president has done that. So I think we have to give credit where credit is due. The documents that I want to see that aren't redacted, supposedly, allegedly, they weren't redacted by the Southern District of New York. That's not Trump that did that, okay? That is SDNY that submitted documents to the DOJ that were redacted. That they supposedly don't have that information.
There's no story here. That's what him and Vance and the whole, and Bondi and Patel were saying for months until this unredacted information hit.
Did someone email 38,000 times Donald Trump after 2019 when he was president? I don't know. But what I do know is that victims like Virginia Giuffre Roberts vindicated Trump, that exonerated him. All of the victims that I have talked to have exonerated the president. Do I think this has been handled perfectly? Absolutely not. I don't think that's his fault. I think there are people that are giving him bad advice.
Is there anything that you saw today? It could be even little information, but anything that you can give the American people an idea of what's really in the unredacted files.
There are a lot of victims' names. I mean, like a lot of the redactions that you see, it's just victim after victim after victim.
Pam Bondi's DOJ leaked the names of hundreds of victims, but kept perpetrators' names redacted. And when asked if she would be investigating any of the actual criminals, she said this with the Epstein victim standing behind her.
I am deeply sorry for what any victim has been through.
She then tried to sidetrack by talking about how great the economy is.
The Dow right now is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin.
Which is strange because at one point in her career, she was apparently serious about fighting sex trafficking.
Children are enslaved and abused. I knew we needed all hands on deck.
And while she doesn't seem interested in investigating anyone from the...
Damn! That's crazy.
We needed all hands on deck. Children are enslaved and abused. I knew we needed all hands on deck.
And while she doesn't seem interested in investigating anyone from the list, she does appear to be investigating the search history of every representative looking into the files.
Accusing attorney so-called trying to like go against it. Now she a suspect of like trying to hide some shit, pretty much. That's crazy.
General Pam Bondi of spying on their search history within the unredacted Epstein files.
Outsmart the market with Base 44 super agents. Set up in seconds and ready to go.
This is Zach Faust.
Like, think about that. Like, though, like, people, you never know who doing what, bro. That's so fucking crazy.
Independent journalist who spent many hours digging into the Epstein files and documenting the web of suspects involved. Here's what he had to say about his research.
Spoke with some politicians about the Epstein files, but I'm finding it a little underwhelming what they're revealing. For example, I asked them about Israeli connections in the files. They said they didn't see any. What did you see?
Well, I think what anybody can see is the amount of people that are connected to the money, the politics, and the power structure that comes out of Israel, Mossad.
That's so fucking scary. That's so scary that that's actually like, shit like that is actually fucking real. Like higher up fucking people, generals and fucking shit. If you cool with them or go against them, you can either fucking hide it or try to hide, or try. You can. I had a lot of serious, crazy ass shit, and then just imagine the opposite of that. If you're not friends with them, like, or even enemies, like, or they don't like, bro, that is crazy. Just imagine what the fuck they could do to you if they really wanted to.
Things like Ehud Barak, who was known to stay at Epstein's residence in Manhattan, which was given to him, that Manhattan residence, by Les Wexner, who was also the funder of and financier of the Mega Group, which was a group of philanthropic, quote-unquote, Jewish billionaires that include people like the Ron Lauders and others that are in the Cabinet Association and the banking systems, and it all stems out of this country that came to us in the 40s from a declaration to the Rothschilds.
Tell us about Ron Lauder.
He is the heir of the Estee Lauder fortune, big cosmetic brand. And the Estee Lauder fortune allowed him to make a lot of philanthropic moves. For example, he funds many Jewish and also anti-Semitic foundations, like anti-Semitism.
He not seeing nobody that's not fucking worth at least $1 billion or a crazy ton of money and got a fucking somewhat power. It's crazy.
He is the president of the World Jewish Congress.
I don't know if this is verified, but I see that he's mentioned at least 1,000 times in the file so far.
The name mentioned, yeah, but a lot of times with the numbers, there are duplicates, right? There are duplications. You can find articles dating back to 2010 when he's being mentioned as one of Bibi's closest associates, Bibi Netanyahu's closest associates, the prime minister, having the defense minister in his house, Epstein, 36 times. So Epstein hosted Ehud Barak in his house 36 different times, verified. And Ehud Barak was the defense minister under Bibi Netanyahu.
So to say the following, there is heavy Israeli involvement, there's heavy elite Jewish involvement. Is that anti-Semitic or factual?
It's not anti-Semitic, because you could get down to the grassroots of what the word anti-Semitism means and the fact that a Palestinian group would be just as Semitic as someone from Israel. But it's not anti-Semitic to look into the depths of the corruption of the Israeli government and their control over our ideology through things like surveillance, yes, but also just mass media ownership.
Every single representative I questioned about the files, including at least one that has an Israel flag in front of his door, said that there is no known Israel connections. Why do you think they said that?
There's just too much involvement, and not just these elites and their religion, but also their money.
What's up, man?
How you doing, brother? Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
This is Julian Andrioni. The organization he works for, Dropsite News, has relentlessly covered the Epstein files and the Israeli ties within. Julian is their Capitol Hill reporter, boots on the ground, pressing our politicians for answers. Here's what we learned from him.
To me, I think you and Dropsite News are doing some of the best reporting on the internet right now. You've been covering the Epstein files extensively. If we've talked to representatives and we're not learning anything new that we haven't already seen online.
No? They're
really.
not talking to you about it?
No. Is that your experience as well?
I wouldn't say they're teaching us anything new. My boss over at Dropsite, Ryan Grimm, has been writing.
Who's the man, by the way?
He is the man. He's been writing a lot about it, and that's where we're finding out a lot of new stuff. Obviously, the DOJ has vast majority of the documents still redacted, even for members of Congress who've been invited to go read the unredacted versions, and so that's unacceptable pursuant to the Epstein Files Transparency Act. It's illegal, and so they're violating federal law, and I think that people who violate federal law should be prosecuted.
My worry is that a lot of the representatives are going to steer this into a particular bucket. Mostly they're going to make it about Trump or a small group of people, and they're going to miss some of the bigger picture things like the arms dealing, the potential baby sacrifice, the Israeli connections. What should people know about what's really going on in the files?
So I think that your analysis at the beginning there is correct. I think that placing the blame on Trump entirely is convenient for folks who don't want to talk about some of the broader developments regarding intelligence, regarding foreign policy aims. I think that a lot of this was in service of a broader worldview. Folks who think that they can operate.
So Trump don't got nothing to do with it.
A pseudo-state and manipulate intelligence agencies that are supposed to be serving the people of a certain country that duly elect representatives to the halls of Congress. And I think we have the Epstein class and the Davos class sort of manipulating that to serve their own foreign policy aims. And newsflash, but they are not a government, so they cannot do that.
Dropsite News has frequently referred to the people involved in the files as the Davos or Epstein class, and their theory is that Epstein is not merely a CIA or Mossad operative, but actually a level above.
The kind of global elite as kind of organized around that Davos conference, or this Davos crew out there. Right. The CIA.
Okay, now what?
Hey, bro, can you make me something that sounds like I just died, went to heaven in Japan, and some angels started singing?
What have you seen direct?
Nah, y'all, I'm just trying to kind of get a little glimpse because I don't necessarily.
Point. We have to investigate everything. We also have to investigate whether, legitimately, if Epstein was, killed by the government to cover up for, all this, all these rich men. Because there's a lot of questions I think that legitimately we should be asking.
You don't believe everything you hear on the internet, or just don't believe everything I guess you hear in general. But it's like, bro, you hear these conspiracies all the time. These higher up people, these these higher up people, they got power, billionaires, almost trillionaires, and got all this power and money that they can literally do whatever, like, they want, and got a whole fucking side world, like a whole fucking world that they got going on the side of the world, pretty much, if that makes it, like. Well, like, we are in front of this, we living here, right? And they got all type of shit on the side or some shit that's crazy that the world don't even fucking know about. Like, and it's like, how the fuck you gonna not believe it? But then you got shit like this, the Epstein file, whatever, I said the file. You got shit like this, it's like, what the fuck, bro? Like, this shit is crazy, bro. It's like, don't always believe everything you hear, but damn, bro, I don't know. But if you like it, you like these vids, man, like, comment, subscribe. I'm out, bro. Peace.